Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin price is pumping up above $5,000 on the day, as well as breaking news. The Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill has been placed on notice of intent for today. We'll also be discussing Metaplanet stock jumping 19% as it buys the dip with 497 Bitcoin purchase. Also, Mexican billionaire Ricardo Salinas, aka Uncle Ricky, says he is all in on Bitcoin with 70% exposure and his net worth is billions. So you already know he's a Bitcoin billionaire. We'll also be discussing Blockstream to launch Bitcoin lending funds with multi-billion-dollar investment. Let's get it. Also breaking news, El Salvador's Nayib Bukele says Bitcoin buys will continue amid the IMF pressure. I'll be breaking down the latest from the one and only president of Bitcoin country, his response to the IMF, as well as what to expect at Trump's crypto summit this Friday in 2 more days. Check this out. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says strategic Bitcoin reserve will be announced at the Trump White House summit and that the other tokens will be treated positively but differently. I'll be breaking this down for you. Also, there's been a lot of speculation that Trump is going to announce 0% capital gains tax as well at this crypto summit going down at the White House this Friday. So we'll be speculating about all that, and I'll be sharing everything you need to know. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes. Go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode 1924. I'm your host, JV. It's March 5th, 2025. Market's back in the green. Bitcoins are ripping like the new Scottie Pippen, up 5,300 on the day, just recaptured $89,000. Let's kick it off with our market watch. Pulling up Coin 360. As you can see here, let her rip, Tater Chip. Bitcoin's up 6.5%, back above 89.1. We have Ether up 6%, trading at 22 hundo. We have XRP up 3%, trading at $2.46. And Cardano, one of the top gainers, up 11%, trading above 96 cents. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at a staggering $2.91 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap, $1.765 trillion. And as far as volume, we got 135 billion with the volume for the past 24 hours, meaning we're down 26% on the day. And the Bitcoin dominance continues on the climb at 60.6%, and the Ether dominance is the lowest I have seen it in several years, all the way down to 9.1%. Price action also very down for the past few years as well. Not looking good for ETH holders, but I digress. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours. We got Bitcoin Cash Trash leading the pack, up 28% on the day. We got Jito up 23% and Ondo up 17%. Which alts, if any, are you bullish on for this particular bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles. We get a visual perspective. Let's start on the day. Yesterday, everything was in the red. Today, everything's back in the green. And zooming out on the month, everything virtually still in the red, maybe 95% of the market, unfortunately. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index today, we're back at a 20 extreme fear. Yesterday, a 15, last week, a 21, and last month, a 44 in fear. And checking out the time chain calendar, we're currently on block number 886,429, 163,571 blocks until the next halving of 2028. And 1 Bitcoin is still equivalent to 1 Bitcoin, and you can currently exchange 1 fiat monopoly dollar for 1,121 sats. So pick up the sats, put down the gats, pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Get yourself an exclusive El Salvador cap to represent Bitcoin country, and let's get it in. Let's continue with the news. A little astrology for the broskies, aka a little technical analysis, of course, after the freeze frame. Headline here reads, Bitcoin price metric that called the 2020 bull run says 69,000 is the new bottom. That's right. So check it. Bitcoin remains highly sensitive to geopolitical decisions, obviously. Last week hitting its lowest level since November of last year. Despite misgivings over the future of the crypto bull run among some market participants, analyst Peterson remains optimistic, both on the shorter and longer time frames. That's right. Now the lowest price forward, which he created in 2019, gives 69,000 as a threshold, as Bitcoin is extremely unlikely to cross again. Quoting him here, there is a 95% chance it won't fall below 69,000, and right in alignment with my personal intuition. And I say intuition because, again, it's astrology for the broskies. Your perspective is as good as anyone else's. We all perceive things through different lenses, and we could look at the same damn chart and have a totally different hypothesis. If you feel what I'm saying, the hypothesis is going to vary. But nonetheless, I do agree. I think the bottom is in, and I think it's very unlikely we ever soar all the way back down to 69,000, which was the previous cycle all-time high achieved on November 10th of 2021. But anyways, the lowest price forward has an impressive, albeit short history. June of 2020, Peterson predicted Bitcoin would never revisit the four-digit price from August that year onward, which ultimately proved correct, subject to a delay of barely 2 weeks. Peterson delivered a 1.5, now we're talking 1.5 million price target for the next 10 years. Why so bearish, Peterson? Quoting him here, the year is 2035, Bitcoin is at, and you can hold me to this, 1.5 million per coin. And somewhere someone is asking, is now a good time to buy the biddy? Exactly, yo. And what I want to do next is pull up some of the live charts, but I also want to share some breaking news. This is a pretty big deal. Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill has been placed on notice of intent for today. Let's freaking go. Strategic Reserve, Texas making big moves. Which state do you think will lead with the strategic adoption from the state level? Do you think it'll be Utah, Texas? There's a handful of them, you know what I mean, making a lot of progress. So you guys let me know your thoughts. We're going to pull up some of the live charts, do some live chart action, Jackson satisfaction. As you can see here on your screen, this is TradingView via Coinbase, the largest exchange in the United States as far as crypto. And as you can see, the 1 minute chart, we do have a bull target sitting at 90,500. When I woke up this morning, we were at 90. We corrected a bit, and we're approaching it fastly at the time of the stream. And yes, this is live and in the flesh. Here's 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart says we're going up forever, Laura. Past couple of hours have been bullish, which we love to see. Zooming out from there, we'll take a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour chart. Also very bullish, printed a nice green candle, as you can clearly see. No particular targets here. Zooming out from the 4 hour, take a quick look at the daily. And the daily chart, you can see past couple of days have been bullish. And a reminder, in 2 more days, big White House crypto summit, the first ever, hosted by Trump and some other, you know, probably Howard Lutnick, I would assume, and some of the other people on his team are going to be there talking about the biddy. Pretty little biddy going up forever, Laura. And zooming out from the daily, we take a look at the weekly. And the weekly chart says, unfortunately, the past couple of week closes have been bearish, but we still have the sexy cup and handle target printed on the screen, sitting at 124,000. And if things go according to God's plan, we may see that 124,000 in play here this month of March before the end of the first quarter of 2025. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And zooming out from the weekly, we take a quick look at the monthly as we smoke the blunskies, broskies, or we take hits from the bong as we strike hits from the gong. But I digress. So you can see here, March has been thus far bullish, even though we're only 5 days deep. February was extremely bearish candle close. Yeah, I mean, January was bullish. December was bearish. November was the strongest Godzilla, you know, candle close we have seen since the inception of the Genesis block. And if you don't know, now you know, broskies. Big news coming from Metaplanet. Their stock just jumped 19% as it bought the dip with 497 of the biddies. That's right. Japanese investment firm Metaplanet bought another 44 million worth of the biddy, which has seen its stock jump 19% on the day thus far. Their CEO said in a post that the firm bought 497 Bitcoin at around 88,000. That's what I call buying the dip, for a total spend of just under 44 million. He added the company achieved a year-to-date yield of 45%. The company's March 5th disclosure said its latest purchase brings its total Bitcoin holdings to 2,888 BTC at an average purchase price of 84,000 per coin, equals winning. The stash is worth around 251 million. Wow, that's a $250 million. With Bitcoin now trading at around 87, we're actually closer to 90 at the time of the live. Bitcoin has fallen 8.5% in the past 14 days, hit a 3-month low of under 79,000 February 28th amid concerns of a looming trade war with Trump's planned tariffs. The Metaplanet stock on the Tokyo Exchange was up 19% by 2 p.m. local time today and was trading around 3,985 Japanese yen, which is $26.20 USD, according to Google Finance, as you can see here on your screen. Now, its stock had taken a hit over the past trading week as Bitcoin tanked, but remains one of the best performers over the last 12 months, increasing over 17%. Metaplanet's latest buy is its second purchase this week, having scooped up 156 of the biddy on March 3rd. The CEO said at the time the firm was exploring a potential listing outside of Japan, meaning U.S. investors would be able to get exposure to it, which would be a big deal. Metaplanet has now acquired 794.5 Bitcoin thus far this year, reporting gains of 66 million on those purchases in the first quarter alone. It aims to accumulate a staggering 21,000 Bitcoin by the end of next year as part of the broader strategy to lead Japan's Bitcoin renaissance. Konnichiwa. These latest acquisitions have propelled Metaplanet to become the 12th largest corporate hodler of the biddy globally and the largest in all of Asia, having surpassed Hong Kong gaming firm Boya Interactive International, according to Bibbo, is outlined right here. I mean, proof of work, 2,888 BTC, valued at $252 million. So there you have it. Yo, if y'all had the opportunity to get exposure to Metaplanet and say it was available through the U.S. stock exchange, how many of you would take advantage of that? I'm curious. And how many of you have any exposure to any of the Bitcoin related stocks? And that could include Strategy B, formerly known as MicroStrategy, Marathon Digital, Riot, Hut, any of the Bitcoin miners. Holla at your boy. Here's the latest with Uncle Ricky, better known as Ricardo Salinas. The Mexican billionaire says he is all in on Bitcoin with 70% exposure. And I know he's worth several billion, so that ultimately means he is a Bitcoin billionaire. So cheers, Uncle Ricky. Founder and chairman of the Mexican conglomerate Grupo Salinas said 70% of his investment portfolio is allocated to Bitcoin-related assets, up from 10% in 2020. So in 2020, when he first came on the scene and he announced holding a significant amount of Bitcoin, he has now increased his exposure an additional 60% for a total of 70%. My question to Uncle Ricky, why so bearish, bruh? Speaking with Bloomberg March 4th, Salinas said he is pretty much all in on Bitcoin, while the remaining 30% of his investments are in gold and gold miners. Quoting him here, that is it. I don't have a single bond and I don't have any stocks. Smart man. I mean, I dare say Bitcoin way so much superior than stocks and bonds. Why even waste your time? 70% Bitcoin allocation presumably excludes shares he holds in company stock, Grupo Electra, which boasts a 75 billion Mexican peso market cap, which is 3.6 billion USD fiat monopoly dollars. Salinas referred to Bitcoin as the hardest asset in the world. Facts. Pointing to Bitcoin's fixed supply cap, he recommended that investors dollar cost average, DCA, buy the small amounts of the biddy over the long term, quoting him here, buy everything you can. It is not going to go anywhere except up because the dynamics are such that it is the hardest asset in the world. That's a fact, Jack. Not even gold is this hard. I repeat, this one for Peter Schiffmeister. Not even gold is this hard. Your gold gets inflated at about 3% a year through additional production from mines. Bitcoin doesn't. Never sell it. And shout out to Salinas. Here he is with the Giga Chad himself, Mikey Saylor. You're looking at some OGs right here. There's a lot of money in this photo, family. But anyway, Salinas, who boasts a net worth of $4.6 billion, has increased his exposure to the biddy since November of 2010 when he said 10% of his liquid portfolio was invested in Bitcoin. That makes me wonder, is he now the richest man in Mexico? Because we always, his title, the third richest, that was back in 2020 when he only had 10% exposure to Bitcoin, but now he has 70% exposure and he's worth almost $5 billion. So I would not be, surprised if he is the second or first richest now in that country. The billionaire said his allocation increased to 6% at the Bitcoin conference. And at the conference, he shared in an interview that he was orange pilled by former Grayscale CEO Barry Silbert in 2012 and 2013 and made his first Bitcoin investment at $200. I've also heard interviews with him, with Max and Stacy on the private jets, etc. Yeah, I mean, and he said it was the best investment he has ever made in his life. So the Bitcoin returns he has experienced. Salinas has been looking to make one of his company's subsidiaries, Banco Azteca, the first Mexican bank to accept Bitcoin since at least 2021. However, faced regulatory battles in that endeavor. Hopefully things change around. His Bitcoin comments came as he revealed his plan to remove financial services firm and retailer Grupo Electra from the Grupo Salinas to allow him to run that business as he wishes. And there you have it. Let me know your thoughts on Uncle Ricky and his massive Bitcoin billionaire stash. Diamond hands, Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang. Check this out. I saw this headline and got me excited. Blockstream to launch Bitcoin lending funds with multi-billion-dollar investment. Blockstream is Adam Back, the Bitcoin OG's company, so this is definitely legit. Check it out. Bitcoin developer Blockstream secured a multi-billion-dollar investment to launch 3 institutional funds, including 2 that will be enabling lending the biddy. Quoting them here. Blockstream's institutional-grade Bitcoin investment solutions will go live April 1st, less than a month out, with external capital acceptance opening July 1st, confirming and earlier confirmed by the report. It added the investment products will offer Bitcoin-backed lending. I repeat, Bitcoin-backed loans and secure institutional financing with Bitcoin collateral. U.S. dollar collateralized borrowing, enabling investors to unlock liquidity without selling their Bitcoin. And hedge fund strategies offering institutional-grade exposure to the Bitcoin markets. Here's the official announcement by Blockstream. Let's freaking go. That's major. Blockstream debuted its new asset management business in January, unveiling the Blockstream Income Fund and the Blockstream Alpha Fund. The Income Fund is focused on loans between $100,000 and $5 million. Would anyone like a $5 million loan? Yes, please. While the Alpha Fund forces on the portfolio growth, providing investors the exposure to infrastructure-based revenue streams like Lightning, node operations, Blockstream, which offers products such as the Liquid Network, a Bitcoin sidechain launched in 2018 to provide faster transactions, secure $210 million in financing through convertible notes in October. Blockstream joins companies like Grayscale, Pantera Galaxy, and Crypto.com in offering crypto-focused investment funds with various levels of exposure to the industry. The Blockstream CEO and Bitcoin pioneer, Adam Back, was amongst many industry leaders who derided President Trump's plans for the strategic crypto reserve because it would include cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin, as he put here in the meme, Bitcoin base, but still, using the Pawn Stars meme, best I can do is a strategic shitcoin reserve. But I have updates on that. According to Howard Lutnick, Trump is going to do something separate and do a Bitcoin strategic reserve, make the announcement this Friday, and do something different that will be positive for the other alts. So they may not all be included in the same reserve, which is definitely good news. And I'll dive into that later. Stay tuned. Trump announced a strategic reserve on March 2nd, stating it would include Bitcoin, Ether, and as well as XRP, Solana, and Cardano. The way I perceive it, I think it's going to be a Bitcoin-only strategic reserve because it should only be Bitcoin. And then I think they're going to put the other crypto assets we just referenced here in like a sovereign wealth fund or a different fund. That's what I would suggest to the president because we do not want altcoins, aka shitcoins, and our strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States of America. And, Adam Back has the same sentiment. I know Samson Mao or anyone else in Bitcoin, even people who run the shitcoin casinos, the Winklevoss twins who own the Gemini Exchange, Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, they have the same sentiment. They think only Bitcoin should be included in the Bitcoin strategic reserve versus a crypto strategic reserve for the United States. Let me know if you agree, disagree. I want to read your comments out loud. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Let's motherfucking go. Next story of the day. We're going to discuss the update. Yesterday, our feature story, we discussed the IMF's 111-page report where they said, El Salvador is not going to be able to purchase any more Bitcoin after this date. It's over. And then there was a lot of speculation in the market. What's really going on? Well, Bukele responded shortly after the live stream. So now I can hit you with Bukele's response and all that good stuff. So headline here reads, El Salvador's Bukele says Bitcoin buys will continue amid the IMF pressure. That's right. He's going to continue to buy regardless what the IMF says. So let's break her down. Bukele said his government won't stop buying Bitcoin despite the new request from the IMF to stop. The IMF issued a new report, which we deep dived into yesterday, for an extended arrangement under the $1.4 billion fund facility to Bitcoin country, which called for the country's public sector to stop voluntarily accumulating the biddy and quoting, Bukele from the actual tweet. This all stops in April. This all stops in June. This all stops in December. No, it's not stopping. If it didn't stop when the world ostracized us and most Bitcoiners abandoned us, it won't stop now. And it won't stop in the future. No Diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. Proof of work is greater than proof of whining. And he even showed another receipt, purchasing another Bitcoin, a couple new Bitcoin purchases this week. Granted, it's only one Bitcoin, but nonetheless, they're continuing to buy regardless of whatever deal they sign with the IMF. So now that the boss has spoken, you heard it first from Bukele. El Salvador continued its purchase of at least one Bitcoin per day on March 4th as part of the Central American's country treasury strategy. The IMF's March 3rd memorandum also requested El Salvador to stop Bitcoin mining activities and to restrict public sector issuance of debt or tokenized instruments that are denominated or indexed in Bitcoin. And while Bukele made it clear El Salvador will continue stacking the Biddy, it isn't clear whether the country would comply with the other requests. El Salvador's National Bitcoin Office did not immediately respond or comment yet. The country initially secured $1.4 billion funding deal from the IMF December of 2024 in exchange for scaling back the Bitcoin-related activities, initiatives, amongst other things. Some of these measures included making Bitcoin payments voluntarily, hence they were always voluntarily, and making tax payments in US dollars. Everyone was paying their tax payments in US dollars to begin with, so not much change there. El Salvador currently holds 6,101 of the Biddy, worth $534 million, according to data from the National Bitcoin Office of El Salvador. The country has the sixth largest Bitcoin stash of any nation state, trailing only the US, China, UK, Ukraine, and Bhutan. Bitbo's Bitcoin Treasuries data shows El Salvador started purchasing the Biddy back September of 2021 when Bitcoin was made legal tender, making it the first country to do so. Bitcoin status as legal tender was narrowed in January when El Salvador passed a law in January to make Bitcoin acceptance voluntary. Well, FYI, they were always voluntary for private sector merchants. Now, after experiencing just 1 week in El Salvador, I now have a lot of friends in El Salvador. Shout out all my El Salvadoran friends. They're amazing, by the way. When I visited, I went out to dinner and I discovered some vendors accept Bitcoin, others don't. And I know from firsthand experience, because when I went out to dinner, I wanted the experience to actually use sats via the Lightning Network to pay for it. And I treated a friend out to some pupusas. 2 of us ate, phenomenal, delicious. $10 for the meal with drinks. And I paid via the Lightning Network. It took, I used the app called, what's the name of the app? 1 second. Exodus. I used the Exodus Lightning wallet, and the merchant used the Shivo merchant wallet or Lightning wallet. And FYI, it don't matter what Lightning wallet you're using. You can use Shivo, you can use Strike, you can use Exodus. It's irrelevant. But the point is, I made the transaction. It was very easy. It cost me 2 pennies via the Lightning Network. So it cost me $10.02 in sats. It was instant, and it was a great experience. Then for dessert, I went to have ice cream, local ice cream in El Salvador, and it was like an older lady, mom and pop style, and she didn't accept Bitcoin. So I used a card or cash or whatever there. But my point is, some vendors accept it, others don't. No one was ever forced where you had to use it. No customer was ever forced. You have to use it. It's your free will. So that didn't really change. The big change is apparent. The IMF has given them $1.4 billion, and according to the IMF, they don't want them using that loan to continue to purchase Bitcoin. And Bukele is like, sorry, I'm going to continue to buy Bitcoin. That's what we know at this point. Obviously conflicting, but that's all we know. I like to, listen or watch people's actions versus just their words. And Bukele has been very consistent since making Bitcoin a legal tender. So I stand with Bukele and the people of El Salvador. I don't trust the IMF, never have. And if you're watching IMF, go fuck yourselves. And we'll leave it at that. Now for our feature story of the day. What should you expect at Trump's crypto summit in 2 days this Friday? Because according to Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Commerce Secretary, he says the strategic Bitcoin reserve will be announced and that other tokens will be treated positively but differently. So let's break this baby down. This was the tweet, from earlier. And as you know, this is the Commerce Secretary appointed by Trump. So of course he's going to know what's going to go down. So I take this with, I take this very seriously. I think there's going to be a very advantageous announcement. I think everyone in Bitcoin wants a specific Bitcoin strategic reserve. I think that's what we're going to get. And I think the other coins that Trump announced the other day that would be included may be introduced to like a sovereign wealth fund or something of that nature. But let's continue. Samson Mao says any digital asset in a strategic reserve cannot have a monetary policy, especially one that can be changed. And he makes a great point. I also think it should only be proof of work. Anything else makes no sense, in my opinion. He also put any digital asset with a monetary policy would fit better alongside foreign currency reserves together with fiat currencies. Amen to that. Also, there's a rumor circulating all across X right now, Trump to announce 0% capital gains tax on all U.S. crypto held over a year at Friday's crypto summit. If so, then maybe America will become great again. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, that would be the most bullish news, in my opinion, because obviously it would attract so much more wealth and crypto folks to come to the land of the free. The one and only USA. Eric Trump also, let's not forget, confirmed the US-based crypto projects will have zero capital gains. This was back in January, January 25th. Remember the headlines? Yahoo Finance, Eric Trump confirms US-based crypto projects will benefit from zero capital gains tax. So this is speculation that is not new, but now we're getting rumors he's going to make the announcement in 2 days. So let me know your thoughts on that. Someone wrote here, if Trump removes capital gains taxes from crypto, we will actually go into a super cycle. Miami will turn into Dubai on steroids, capital will flow in like never before, and the U.S. will return to the golden age. So let me know if you think the Trumpster will make the big announcement, and let's dive a little bit deeper into what we should be expecting from the big summit. Since Trump's AI and crypto czar David Sachs announced plans for the White House to host a summit featuring industry leaders and policymakers, many are questioning what the focus of the event will be. March 7th, according to Sachs, prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry will meet with members of Trump's working group on digital assets over at the White House, presumably to discuss policy issues related to crypto and blockchain and a potential regulatory framework. The announcement preceded the U.S. president's intention to include XRP, Solana, and Cardano in a crypto strategic stockpile being explored by the working group. And amongst the individuals confirmed to be attending the White House event are Trump, Ripple CEO Garlinghouse, Paradigm co-founder Matt Huang, and strategy executive chairman Mikey Saylor, as well as Chainlink co-founder Sergey Nazarov, Exodus CEO, Sachs, and working group executive director Bo Hines. I heard it was denied that Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, will be there. I don't know how accurate that is, but I read that yesterday. Garlinghouse supported Trump's presidential campaign personally and helped pro-crypto lawmakers through Ripple's donations to the Political Action Committee, Fair Shake, leading some to speculate that other donors, including Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, Gemini co-founder Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, and Kraken co-founder Jesse Powell might also be attending the summit. And quoting Michael Saylor from yesterday, I have been invited to the Digital Assets Summit at the White House this Friday, hosted by the president. That's right. If Saylor wasn't invited, would it even be a crypto summit? Just saying. Since taking office in January, Trump and the Republican lawmakers have proposed establishing a strategic crypto reserve, banning CBDCs, and studying a comprehensive digital asset regulatory framework. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission under Trump also dropped investigations and enforcement actions against many involving digital assets, all but XRP, ironic as that sounds. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Do you think the big announcement will be announced tomorrow that they're going to stick with Trump's original promise when he spoke at the Nashville event in Tennessee and he promised all the Bitcoiners a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Because it wasn't until more recently he changed it to the crypto strategic reserve. And now again, Lutnick, who works directly alongside Trump, is saying other tokens will be treated positively but differently, which it seems everyone wants. So let me know your thoughts. And also regarding the 0% capital gains tax, do you think that will be announced this Friday? And let's just entertain that as a yeah. How do you think that would impact the Bitcoin and crypto market? Where will that send the biddy price before the end of March? Holler at your boy, and let's read some of the comments. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Give it up for the NIP. That's the next nip drip. This is the Nipinator indicator, the only Bitcoin indicator in existence with 100% accuracy. You feel me? Not investment advice. Everything you hear in this stream is for entertainment purposes only. But that doesn't put down the Nipinator indicator. Clearly, you can see it. So, for what it's worth, there you have it. There is no second best. Precisely.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.
I'm not saying I'm number one. I'm sorry, I lied. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? The point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura.